Have you ever heard, well, at least things will settle down once you're back into a routine? I have had that happen, and I can think of times whenever I remember smiling and nodding because, what else do you do while internally thinking something along the lines of settle down where exactly? Today, I want to talk about that assumption, the one that says that once the schedule comes back, you're finally going to feel like yourself again and everything's going to kind of calm down, and why that promise often does not hold up. So let's get started.
Welcome to Chronic Illness Moms. If you're more than just a tired mom, I'm talking trying to make it through the day without crashing by noon while raising neurodivergent kids, you're not alone. I'm Ashley, a wife, mom, and certified health coach. I have lived with autoimmune disease and flare-ups that made everyday life feel harder than it should. After years of pushing through and burning out, I learned how much stress, poor sleep, and nervous system overload were driving my symptoms. Everything changed when I started building small, realistic habits that actually supported my body instead of fighting it. In this podcast, you'll learn simple habits that help you to feel better. So pop in your earbuds and take a break from the chaos. It's you time.
I know you're tired of not feeling like yourself, tired of waking up and already feeling behind, tired of trying to figure out where to even start when you can barely get through the day. You're tired of doing the things that you're supposed to do and still not getting better. You are so tired of carrying your kids' hard days on top of your own body not cooperating and feeling like you don't know how you're going to keep doing it. You are not lazy. You are not doing it wrong. You need someone to sit with you, to look at your specific situation and how they can help you to find the one thing that's actually going to make a difference for your body right now. That is exactly what my Feel Better coaching call is. It is 1 hour. You leave with a plan that is built for your real life. We will audit your lifestyle and look at my Feel Better framework to determine what is the 1 or 2 healthy habits that you can focus on that are going to move the needle the most on helping you to feel better again. So if you want to book your call, go to ashleybraden.com/coaching. That is ashleybraden.com/coaching. Okay, so if you've ever heard that, like, oh, things are going to settle down once you get back into the routine, often people, they mean it as kind of an encouragement. And they might be watching you juggling summer tasks and your kids need you really frequently. You have appointments scattered all across the week with really no consistent routine to hold on to. And from the outside, it can genuinely look like a schedule. That's got to be the missing piece. Like once that schedule's back, then the exhausted version of you that everyone's seeing, or the stressed out version of you, that will just kind of resolve and go away. And honestly, I've had times where I believed that was true as well. And again, I'm not saying anything against schedules. I think schedules are great, but I don't think that they are the magic answer that so many of us hope that they will be, that they're going to resolve everything. They do have definitely benefits and they are great, but they're probably not going to fix all your problems. That's all I'm saying. And so I have remembered, just counting down to the first day of this new schedule, like this is the finish line almost. And I picture myself with like quiet mornings or at least a predictable shape to my week and some vague sense that my body would be able to catch up on whatever it is that I've been missing all summer that I've been struggling with. And kind of like this feeling of like, okay, I've just got to get back to the first day, get back to the schedule, and it's going to get easier from there. Like the date itself carried some kind of, weight to it when we got back to this new routine. And then what happens? The routine comes back and you still wake up exhausted. Your joints still hurt the same way they did in the summer. You still have brain fog by the early afternoon, and the calendar, it has the structure again, but your body didn't get the memo that was supposed to help you feel better now that the calendar was back to a consistent routine. I've sat with that for some time, feeling a little bit confused before I realized that what actually happened was in my mind, I almost thought that this schedule change or creating a schedule or being consistent with routines or whatever you want to call it, that it would be like a symptom fix. And really, while yes, having a schedule has its benefits, those two things, a consistent schedule and resolving your symptoms, they are not the same thing to begin with. So, I've lived with autoimmune symptoms for, honestly, at this point, it's been decades. And it's kind of funny because I know enough to know that the calendar or the schedule or the routine, it doesn't touch inflammation. It doesn't touch a nervous system that has been dysregulated for months. Yeah, they can be tools to help, but it's not the magic fix. That's what I'm saying. But it's just funny because we want to find something to hope that it's going to be the thing that'll fix it. But it doesn't necessarily work that way because, we just find the next thing. When that doesn't work, the next thing, whether that's a new season, a new supplement, or, in this case, the new school schedule that's going to help you to make sure you're getting enough rest and enough sleep and enough this. But the funny thing is once we get into that school schedule, there are other things. There's always something that's coming up. And so the problem is it's not the routine or the schedule that's going to help you to magically have the time to care for yourself. It's not the routine or the schedule that's going to help you to figure out how can I build these small habits that I can actually stick with to care for myself. So we want to think that the routine, yeah, it's a logistics fix, but you're still living in the body that you have. And that is not solving the same problem. So the routine is not solving the problem of I have chronic symptoms that I don't know how to resolve, or I am struggling to figure out how to feel like myself and keep up with the kids. And, that's what I think sometimes people miss when they say that version of you're going to feel better once things settle down, is because, yes, a routine can fix a schedule problem. It can give you predictable drop-off pickup times. It can also give you windows of time where you can then maybe make forward momentum on improving your health. It can also help you in those areas of maybe having fewer decisions to make about what's going to happen next. But what it can't do is it can't help to reset your nervous system, to boost your immune system, help you have more energy, or fix the actual things that are going on that are causing you to feel so fatigued, to have the brain fog, to the joint pain, all of those things. The schedule doesn't impact those. And so your body is still that same body that it was in July as it is now when you're back into the flow of the summer or the school schedule. So again, that doesn't mean that a routine is useless. Predictability, it genuinely does help a body that is working really hard. And, we've talked about that in the past episode, but it's never going to be the fix. That's the whole point of this, is we sometimes put our hope on the idea of if I can just get better at a routine or I can get better at the schedule, then that's when things are going to improve. But that's really never actually the thing. That's not treating the thing that's actually going on. So think about it this way. If you sprained your ankle, let's say in June, and really you've been trying to treat it, whatever, but no one would say, oh, you know what? You sprained your ankle in June, but when school starts back up and your calendar is pretty consistent, things are going to get better. Your ankle will get better then. You would still have to actually treat your ankle. You would have to rest it. You would have to go to the doctor. You would have to ice it. You would have to elevate, all of these things that you need to do. And so your chronic symptoms, they work the same way. The date changing or your week getting back to more of a routine and structure, that's not going to actually fix the thing. It just organizes things a little bit better, which, yes, can make it easier, but it isn't going to resolve. Like, things are not going to settle, calm down. And like I said earlier, even whenever we get back to the schedule, the routine, kids still have a hard day, or we have more appointments, or we have homework. There is always something that is standing in the way of us investing the time to care for ourselves. So what do we do about it? Do we just live this way forever? The answer, of course, is no. But that's what I wanted to kind of bring this and point it out, just to let you know. And because I think sometimes we miss this. We just jump from thing to thing, hoping that the next thing or the next schedule or the next habit or the next routine, supplement, protocol, whatever, is going to make it better, instead of just starting where we're at today. The other aspect I want to lean into a little bit is those of you who homeschool. So we homeschool some of our kids, and some of our kids go to private school. So we have a unique dynamic, but it's so funny because especially as a mom, if you have your kids with you all the time and you hear, oh, you're going to get a break now, you can feel kind of this feeling of like, that's not actually true for me. And you're right. It was never going to be true for you in the same way that it would be for a family who sends their kids out to go to school. So regardless, whatever kind of mom you are, whatever your family, your home routine looks like, the assumption that a routine or consistent schedule equals rest for you or more time for you to invest in or care for yourself. Really, that's what we're challenging here, because for a lot of us, that routine, it just means the same amount of caregiving, but maybe on a different timeline, or maybe that's spaced out throughout the day. Now, again, especially for a homeschooling mom, you are still doing the same amount of caregiving. Your kids are still with you all the time. So it's not necessarily a break. And I think that sometimes for a homeschooling mom, that comment can even sting a little bit more because it comes from a place of people not actually seeing and understanding what your day looks like. So you feel misunderstood. And so someone means well when they say something like, oh, well, you're going to get your mornings back or you're going to get back into the swing of things. But it kind of feels almost like a dismissal because that day is never actually going to happen for you. Your kids are with you and you want them with you, and it's a wonderful blessing. And at the same time, you're trying to figure out, how do I take care of me while also taking care of my kids? And this is not a selfish thing. I need to take care of me so I can take care of my kids. And I've been there before of, oh my goodness, I have to take care of me or I'm not going to physically be able to take care of my kids. And so I just want you to know this is genuinely not true for your situation. If you are a mom who is homeschooling, you are not sending kids or getting the break. And I see that and I understand that that is an additional struggle for you. So, when we look at routines, this doesn't mean the same thing for every mom, for every situation. For some, it means you do get a few quiet hours. For others, it means we're just doing the same full days, but yeah, we're doing it a little bit more on a stricter schedule right now. So what routine is actually going to give you is something real. It's just not what everyone is promising or hoping for you, or maybe that you're hoping for yourself. And again, I don't want to sound like it doesn't help. Routine does help. It's just not in the way that we often hope that it might. What returning to a routine or a schedule is actually going to give you is predictability. So you are going to know pretty roughly what tomorrow is going to look like. You're going to be able to plan around what your body needs a little bit better because you're not guessing or trying to troubleshoot what the day holds on top of guessing, how am I feeling today? That is really valuable for someone who is managing these chronic symptoms and just struggling, because that predictability, it lets you figure out, how can I build in these little small habits into my day? How can I take a moment for rest? How can I make sure I'm getting enough water? How can I get 5 minutes in of movement throughout the day? And that itself is extremely valuable and helpful if you are trying to figure out small little chunks of time to carve in where you can do the things that you know that are going to help you to feel better. And so there is value in it, but the honest version of this isn't a routine is going to fix your life or it's going to fix your symptoms or it's going to fix you needing to carve out time for your kids, because you're still going to have the child that struggles to stick with the schedule. You're still going to have the child who, yeah, you needed to be here at 3:00, but they're currently having a meltdown and you are trying to help them to regulate so you can get where you need to go. That is still going to happen even with the routine and the schedule. And so we know it doesn't magically fix everything, but the honest version is the routine is going to give you a little bit more stability in the structure of your day so that you can actually carve out some time to take care of you inside of that structure. And that, I feel like that is a lot more of a doable promise than the thing that we hope for, which is the routine is going to fix everything. And suddenly the house is going to be calm and it's going to be clean and I'm going to have all the time I need to do all the things for myself that I want to do. That's sometimes what we hope for, but the reality is it's going to give you more time, more structure, not more time to do everything and everything's going to be perfect, but it's going to give you the structure to carve out these little bitty habits that you want to do for yourself to feel better. So I would rather you focus on, okay, what is true in my situation? And what are some realistic expectations that I can hope for, instead of feeling like this desire to fix everything all at once and then setting yourself up for failure and then feeling like you did something wrong or I'm just so exhausted I can't keep up with this. And then again, we get back into that shame spiral. And the reality is it was really just the expectation in the system. It wasn't a failure with you. So I just feel like that is something I wanted to chat about because, I do think as a mom with chronic illness, you genuinely might feel better once your day has some shape and some routine to it. I know I personally do as well. But here's the real takeaway that I want you to get is that, yes, that is helpful. But instead of trying to go into this season and measuring your progress by whether or not the new schedule, the new routine fixed everything for you, what you could do instead is start measuring your success, let's say success in quotes, by whether or not using that consistency is, and that's more structured time, is supporting you and helping you to support your body in the way that it needs. So routine is not going to fix your body, but it is going to give you a little bit more consistency so you can actually begin to take care of your body in those chunks of time. So as you're getting into the back to school season, back into the schedule, back into the routine, all of that, what is something that you could do? That's always the thing here. Can we focus on one small thing? And the thing that I would challenge you and encourage you to do is to pick one thing that your new routine or new schedule is going to make it easier for you to plan to do. Maybe that is being consistent with taking some supplements that you respond well to. Maybe it is a specific time frame where you carve out a little bit of time for you to rest. Maybe it is getting out in the mornings and getting morning sunlight, or it is you blocking out 15, 30 minutes to move your body. Whatever that thing is, that now that you have a little bit more consistency, you can think of a time specifically where you can block that out maybe not every single day, but at least on a consistent basis. So let's just picture it. It's the first consistent week in the back to school season. Your calendar is feeling fairly structured. And instead of waiting to just feel better because the schedule has shown up, you look at your week and you pick one time frame that is consistently predictable for you and you protect it on purpose. This is time for me. Now, the something may change, but this time right here is time for me to focus on and do something that my body needs right now. Maybe that's 15 minutes. Maybe it's a block of an hour on a Tuesday afternoon that used to be really unpredictable all summer, but right now your kids are being dropped off at therapy and you are able to carve out some time to take care of your body. You put your name down in that calendar slot, the same way you would schedule your kids' therapy appointments or a school event that they have. This is non-negotiable. It's already decided. This is something I'm going to do. I'm not going to push myself to the back burner and wait and fill it with other things until suddenly I realize I never took care of myself. I'm doing this thing. That is the difference. That waiting for a routine to fix things for you and really the different. All right, friend, as you work through this and as you think about what is the one chunk of time or the thing that you want to do, focus on right now. And like I said, that can change. Maybe you're working on getting enough water or getting morning sunlight and you really have that set and you feel good on that. And then you decide to add something else. But the goal is to block out a block of time for you. And again, it doesn't have to be hours upon hours. It can be 15 minutes. But I would love to hear, come tell me in the free Facebook community what that predictable time slot is. And then also, what do you have in mind to fill it? Or what do you hope to focus on in that time frame? I will have the link for the Facebook group down in the show notes. And I just want to encourage you, if you've been waiting for your schedule to fix your body and it hasn't, and you're ready for an actual plan built around what your body needs, that is exactly what my Feel Better coaching call is for. You can go to ashleybraden.com/coaching. All right. The schedule is coming back, but of course that does not mean that you are supposed to feel fixed or it's going to magically fix everything. It just means that you have a more consistent place to actually start taking care of yourself. That is all for this episode. I'll see you back next time. Hey friend, I hope you found today's episode helpful. If you did, would you take a minute to share it with another mom who's struggling with chronic symptoms? And leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me to know this podcast is making a difference for you. All right, it's time for me to go tackle those snack requests and remember that a short walk, even if the kids turn it into a race, still counts as self-care. Keep chasing those little wins. Even when it feels messy, you're making progress. The information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. I'm not a doctor, and this podcast is not intended to treat or diagnose any condition. You're the expert on your body. Listen to it and reach out to a trusted provider for support.